Hello everyone! Welcome back to Project Phases. This is Update 8. It's been quite a while since Update 7, but I've been working hard on getting a lot of new things in, so we got a lot to go over today. Before we start, I do want to mention a few things. First off is that this is going to be a slightly different update video, because I'm not going to go over every single change I've made. I'm only going to go over the big stuff, because in the past I've gone over but most bug fixes, most little small changes. But I'm not going to go over everything, just for time purposes. But if you do want to see everything I've changed, I'm actually going to have a place where you can see that. And that's going to be on my new website, soltairus.github.io. I've had that website since a bit after Project 7. So I didn't formally announce it on YouTube. I announced it everywhere else. So yeah, if you want to go check out that website, it's got a lot of devlogs. It's got a post for every update. It has a review, 2 reviews, and some other stuff there. But it's really awesome. I've been updating it pretty constantly with new information, new things. So please go check that out. And there's going to be a Update 7 post that corresponds with this video. And it's going to go over everything I talk about in this video in more depth. And it's going to talk about some other things I don't mention in this video, smaller things. So yeah, just all around, go check it out. It's some really good stuff down there. But with that out of the way, let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so one of the first things we're going to mention is one of the big changes for the update, and that's this new NPC up here. So this is Chris, and if you interact with him, you will see he says something. So he will say, "I'm the merchant Chris. I see you have come to look at my shop. Please take a look." So from that you can tell that he has a shop. So he is the shopkeeper, and we have this whole new shop system. It reused the UI element from the inventory. That saved me a lot of time. So here we have on the top left corner, you can see how much gold we have. And now we can select each category of item that we want to buy. So let's say we want to we're looking into buying a new sword for Daryl. So we click weapons and we see the whole catalog. It's about 6 new weapons, seven new weapons here. Actually, Reverse Sword was in the game before, but you get the point. So yeah, and we also have these new icons up here. So we have the type of weapon it is, the attack, the defense, the speed, and the points, this point thing here. And then we have the money, how much money it costs. So let's say we wanted to buy this river sword, or we wanted to see how it affects everyone. So we just highlight over it, and you can see we have colors pop up. Green means it goes up. Blue means it's the same. Red means it goes down. And on the bottom right corner, we also see the description. So for the river sword, it's a sword made of pure water, bonded together by magic. It is a ranged weapon. This sword will actually give you 1 speed, so this will be a permanent buff as long as you have it equipped. So you'll get speed up a little bit if you have this sword equipped, unlike something like the stone axe, which is a bit stronger, but you actually lose a speed, because I guess it's heavier. They're the same price though, so it's really a trade-off that you want to do. If you don't want to do any other trade-off, I'll just go for the feather spell, which is just a generally better weapon than the river sword. I don't really know why you would buy the river sword if you have a feather spell, but whatever. But just to be devil's advocate, we're going to buy the river sword. So if you want to buy something, it's really intuitive. You just click it and amount goes to 0 and your money flies away. Once we go back into here, the river sword will actually be gone. So you can't like buy it again by accident. So that's how that works. And there's also a lot of new armor as well. Basic, thorn, pointy, magic, and legendary. They all have their separate buffs and debuffs and things you can see over here. And all of their prices, so pretty much the same thing, and all their descriptions as well. And you also go into consumables, so these are the one-time use items, and these are actually kind of special because they can give you temporary buffs and debuffs you can use in battle. Keep that in the back of your mind. I'm going to show you that later in action, but for now, just know that that's a thing. So let's say we're out of here now. We want to equip that new sword that we got. First of all, you can see your amount of gold here if you're ever curious. So if we go to items and then weapons, we'll see the river sword is here. So if I wanted to equip it, it's the same thing. Just highlight over it. You can see how it affects everyone. So we're going to click it and give it to Daryl. If we wanted to say, oh, I didn't mean to click that, or I don't want to equip it, we can right click to cancel the equip and it will go away. So if I just do this, there we go. Daryl now has the river sword equipped and his stats went up. Good stuff. Alright, another quick change to the menu system. If you go into the party tab, you can actually click on these player icons now. And if you click on it, you get an expanded menu. So you can see a bit more in depth of each character, what attacks they have, what weapons and armor they have equipped. And you can also highlight over them and get descriptions. And you can see all these stats here. Let's also say you wanted to change the armor here. You can actually click directly here, and it will open the armor menu. So you can change, equip a different armor set. You can also do the same for a weapon, and you just click back on here when you're done with it. Or you can just close the menu from here. That also works too. Alright, so that's all for the overworld for now. There are a few more things I need to show here, but I'm going to go to the battle system first to explain a few things. So let's go ahead and do that. Off camera, I bought a few items, and I'll show you those in a second. So right off the bat, you can see one pretty big change right away, and that's this menu. There's the new box on the bottom, and everything has been moved up slightly to accommodate this box. And what this box does is actually have descriptions. So if I highlight over anything, there will be a description for it. Everything in the game now has descriptions, just help bring the world a bit more to life. If you go into items, you can see the two items I bought, which were Sugar Packet and a Liquid Fire. These are going to give us temporary stat boost, and I want to show those off right now. So these will obviously give you a stat boost, which is temporary. It will last for one phase or one loop around the timeline, and they can either be a speed boost or an attack boost. So let's say I wanted to give this Sugar Packet. According to the description, it will boost speed by 25, but it'll actually lower attack a little bit, which is fine by me. So if I click on this, I can actually give it to Daryl here, and from there you actually see some new things, and that is these markers here. So Daryl now has this arrow appear on his timeline with a little 1 over it. So what these are the player arrow markers, or the arrow markers in general. So these help you find out where everything is. So these actually work in a way. So if I want to do this and I do slash on, let's say, Crocman, Crocman gets a 1, so you can see where the first one happens and the second one happens. You can also see where it happens here. If I give an item to someone else, so if let's say I give a small point packet to Oliver, I click on there, he gets an arrow as well. So you can see that you will do the attack on Oliver. These arrows are also player specific, so the blue ones are for Daryl, the green ones are for Clint, and the red ones are for Oliver. Once you see the other ones, you'll understand what I mean. Let's say, oh man, I forgot what the first arrow thing does. You actually highlight over them, and you can see in the description menu what each arrow represents. So for this one, it's Daryl, it's his first order, and it's going to be a Sugar Packet. So over here, if I do it to Oliver, it will be his Daryl, order 3, it will be a small point packet, and it will be given to Oliver. So that's how it works. You can see how everyone adapts to it. So you can see this arrow 3. There's a lot of different scenarios that determines when these will appear. But let's just go back to just doing a Sugar Packet on Daryl. So what this should do is give me a massive boost in speed. Or not massive, but it will give me a boost in speed, so I'll move quicker along the timeline. And also there will be some symbols that pop up, and I'm just going to press N and you will see that. Another thing you might have seen is that the arrow actually flipped over. They also stayed put. So when you confirm it, it'll actually flip the arrow over. Let me explain. So if I do smash down here, this arrow, it's red now because this is Oliver's attack. It will flip over to the other side of the timeline to signify that it is something that's already been done and it's going to happen. And they actually stick around. They stay on the timeline now. So I'm just going to press N, you'll see what I mean. So they flip over, they stay there, and once it happens, they go away. And I have my speed boost here, so I've been moving a bit faster. So you have this symbol saying speed is up and attack is down, because remember, it did debuff my attack. And once I get back into the attack phase, it will reset and this buff will go away. So let's just wait through this, and there we go, it's gone. The way the tracking works is if you use a speed buff or any sort of buff move or item in the attack phase, when you reach the beginning of the next attack phase, it will go away. And if it's during the defend and wait phase, whenever you reach the exact point where you got it, it will go away. The reason I did this is because if you get a speed boost in the middle of an attack phase, I would have to calculate whether that speed boost would still be there by the time the attack happens. And given the way this game works, that would be so overly complicated and add a whole lot of development time, because that would take a very long time, because I have to redesign the entire battle system. So I just said I'll just set this rule because, one, it's really not that big of a deal, and two, it's just going to save a whole lot of time for everyone. So just remember, if you're in the attack phase and you get a buff, it will go away at the beginning of the attack phase. Otherwise, it will go away the moment you loop around the timeline exactly where you got it. Hopefully that makes sense. Next thing I want to mention is a setting that you can actually get in the game now. So if you remember, I was talking about how the arrow stays there. So let's say I have point packet, point packet, point packet. Actually, that won't work. So let's do point packet, and then we do a smash down. There's a lot of arrows here, and they're going to stay there as long as the attack doesn't happen. So it can get kind of cluttered pretty easily. So you can actually have a setting now. So if you go into setup, there's this new option here called show arrow marker. So when you turn it off, I think by default it's going to be off, but just for the purposes of this update, it's on. Because I think it looks better when it's off, but some people might want it on. It's also very useful for debugging. So if you go back into the system, if I go here and do the exact same thing, I do all these. So all of them will still show up when you're selecting the move. But once you press N, they will all go away, leaving for a much cleaner interface. So you can actually see what's going on. All right, for this next thing, I'm going to... I actually set the game to only have Clockman. So what I'm going to show here is, let's say you want to get more gold. How do you get more gold to buy at the shop? So if I go, I can do 2 slashes here, and then I can do smash down. So whenever you defeat an enemy or defeat a group of enemies, you will actually get gold. So once I win this, it says you won. You got 55 gold. And it'll take me back to the overworld. So now you can see I have 555 gold. That's because we started the game. It starts with 500. So once I add the 55, I have 555. If you have more enemies, the amount of gold goes up. So each enemy has a random amount of output. So each enemy is about 50 gold. So it's like from 40 to 60 gold, I think. So usually averages around 50. So it'll be a random amount of money each time. But you should get around 150 gold for the 3 enemies. But if you're just attacking one of them, it'll only give you 50. I hope that makes sense. And then from there, you can use whatever gold into the shop system. And that's how you grind for money. Alright, back in the overworld now, I do want to show another thing. So remember I was talking about the battle buffs and debuffs. So if you go in here and do consumables, so let's say like buy like 2 sugar packets. Well, I showed you how it works in the battle system, but you can also do it pre-battle. So what I mean by this, if you go into your items, go into consumables, here are my sugar packets. I can actually give them to, let's say, Daryl here. So as I highlight over them, you can actually in parentheses the stat buff you will get. So if I click this and give it to Daryl, it'll be 8 minus 3, so it's going to debuff it by 3, and then 10 plus 25, so it's going to be 35 speed for the beginning of the battle. And the moment the battle starts, the buff gets into place. So you'll have it the moment the battle begins. So I just gave him 50 speed and minus 6 attack. So he'll do very little damage, but he'll be very fast. So let me show you how that works. So if I go into the battle system now, you'll see that I have my buffs and debuffs already. And let's just slash, and you'll see actually the arrow does apply, so it gets a bit closer because it's faster. Here it's farther away because it's my timeline. And as I do that, you'll see it attacks, and it's much faster than everyone else. And then the moment it loops, it goes away. Alright, one last thing in the battle system, and that is the overall battle polish. So there have been a lot of changes. I'm going to talk about more about this in the website post of this video. But the way the system works, I've changed it many times now. But right now how it works is that wherever this arrow is, the moment it reaches that arrow, it will actually do the attack. So it should be very specific. There are still a few glitches though. It's not perfect yet. As you can see, like right here, you can see it actually creeps in the defend phase a little bit. That's not right. That shouldn't happen. There are still bugs, and you probably noticed a few. They aren't perfect, especially the enemy timeline here. Sometimes this arrow completely misses the mark. I'm still working on it. It should be done. It should be set, or at least very, very close to being perfect by the time the demo comes out. But I'm still working hard on that because that's very a big change. But this does really help with the battle stability, because before the enemies actually controlled when the attacks happened. And that was a problem because in the long run, I would probably only have a few players, but I'd have maybe, let's say, 100 of enemies. And programming each enemy to control attacks would be really a big deal, a big task. So controlling the players to control their attacks makes a lot more sense. So I've changed the whole system. Everything's based on the player now. It's actually a lot more accurate, and it's a lot more reliable and a lot easier to develop. So it's a good change. It's more polished. There's also a lot of other polished things I'm going to mention once again on the website post. So that's that. Alright, so for the last thing of today's video, of today's update, we actually have a new area. This is the North Cave. You might have noticed this when I was talking to Chris, this little entrance here, this little thing here. So if I go near here and I go inside, you actually see we enter a cave. And this is the North Cave. Before I say anything, I'm going to talk about this a bit later. These graphics are not final. I'm actually working on new ones. I'll talk about more of that at the end of the video, just so you know. But yeah, you can walk around in here. There are multiple floors, so you can go to this second floor here. It's a bit lower, and there's a few little areas. See this area in the middle here. And yeah, you can walk around. Everything still works. Still open your inventory. It's nice to have a different color backdrop than the green of the other area. You also might have noticed this little chest up here. If you go up to it, you actually can press E. It will open up, have a nice little animation. It says you found a magic potion. So if I go into my consumables, there's a magic potion. A very, very good item all around. And this is the cave. Like I said, it's due to change. But the concept is here, and the system works. So you can actually have different areas for the demo, which is pretty sweet. So yeah, and then we can just walk back out, and everything's just like it was. Alright, so that pretty much wraps it up for the update. It might not seem like much, but it definitely is. It took a lot of work. As there's more and more complex systems, the amount that changes per update is getting smaller and smaller. But this is one of the last updates that's going to have a lot of big changes. Next update is really going to be pretty much wrapping up a lot of the main features, and I'm hoping update 10 will be the release of the demo. That's kind of the plan right now. So that's all the new stuff. So I'm just going to say, if you don't want to hear me rant about, well, not rant, but talk about the demo plans, all I say is go check out the website post, because I go into more detail. I talk about some stuff I didn't talk here, and some good stuff down there. But let's go talk about the demo a little bit. So the demo plan is going to be, I don't know how long it's going to be. I really hope I can get it out by the end of this year. I got about 3 months to do that. I'm actually already working on redoing a lot of the assets. Like I mentioned, the cave, that's very temporary. That's due to change, and it already is changing. I might put some pictures of what I've been working on the screen. And given I'm not the best artist in the world, so don't expect an artistic masterpiece. And also I don't want it to be, because it's very proof of concept. Like, this is really a proof of concept. This whole Project Phases thing. I wanted to show, if people are interested in playing a game, a full-on game, full story, full characters, a more deep battle system game of this kind of concept. And that's kind of what I'm gauging with this demo. And I'll go in more into that once I actually get closer to releasing it. Hopefully it'll be out by the end of this year. That's my big aim. If it's not, it will be pretty early. I'm hoping 2020. So please keep a lookout for it. So other than that, the next update is going to be saving. Saving's the big one. Start putting in some of the new graphics, and quest system and cutscene system. Those are the big ones, because those are the things I really am missing. Also going to update a bit of the dialogue, so we're going to have tech portraits, so you can actually, so it's a bit more professional, I guess is the best way to put it. And then once I get that, it's just going to be building the demo. So we're also going to put in some new enemies. I'm not sure if that's going to be an update 9 or an update 10 thing. At some point, we're going to put some more enemies in. We're going to put probably no more players, but more NPCs definitely. Some areas to explore. I'm hoping it, if I'm being really ambitious, maybe an hour demo, probably a bit shorter, depending how much I want to put in there and how much time I have to put in there. Like I said, please go check out the website. I guess I'll say this now. Follow my Twitter. Follow me on Twitch, and check out my website. I'm going to post updates on Twitter whenever I update my website. So if you want to do that, follow me on Twitter to get the most up-to-date website stuff. That's probably the place to do it. But there, I will definitely be posting as I make stuff. I'll keep very little secret. There's not really much to keep a secret. I mean, I'll keep something a secret, but not much. I mean, I won't show you the final boss of the demo or anything. And I already have ideas for the demo. I have an idea how it's all going to play out, how it's all going to work. So next update, I'm hoping should be out pretty soon, just because there's not that much to add. It's a lot of polished things, a lot of smaller things, saving systems, quest systems. Not like quest systems, a small feat, but it's not like I'm doing. It's not like I'm doing this giant game or anything. It should be pretty simple. Things like that. So thank you all for watching. Thank you all for continuing to watch these. It's been crazy. It's gonna come up to 4 years of me working on Phases, which is insane to think about. And it's not like I haven't made that much progress. Let's be real, for 4 years of development. But it's not like I work on this 24/7. It's a very side project type of thing. But I'm very passionate about it, and I'm really happy that over time, especially over this past year, people have really started to pay attention, and that just means so much to me. So I just got to say a huge thanks to everyone who's followed me, who's continued to be with this for this whole time, been at my streams, followed me on Twitter, commented, all that. It really means a lot. I'm gonna finish this demo. From there, we'll find out what we do. I really want to make a full game out of this, but if no one's gonna play it, maybe I'll still make it. But we'll see. We'll see how everything gauges out. But thank you everyone so much for caring. Thank you so much. And I will see you guys in update 9, update 10, and hopefully you'll be playing Project Phases very, very soon. Thank you everyone for watching.